Now, onto this bit. This is quite a fun thing to work on because I think everyone can tell where I've got inspiration from the name, from the logo. But it's this is fully allowed because it's parody and it's not plagiarism or anything of a certain company in real life. It is full parody. It's parody law. It's acceptable. It's allowed. I've done research on this and it's perfectly fine. But yeah, as you can see, I went through quite a few phases of changing the color. At first I thought, okay, this is alright, and then I realized it's ugly. In my opinion, I thought it was quite ugly. And I thought, okay, you know what, if this is going to be a fast food chain, then surely it will have its own bit of personality. So I did that here and I realized, no, this wouldn't work because this is being placed in a mall. And typically when you look in a mall and you see a shop, a restaurant, a fast food chain, whatever it is usually a preset building that has been there for a while and they've made it into the fast food chain by adding small bits of detail. So that's what I've done here. I changed the color completely to the color of the mall, the mall walls, and I'm quite happy with how it turned out. At this point I was quite happy, but I thought, no, I can do more of this. So around here I changed the color of the sign in the background to make it pop out more, and I gave it a bit of shading to show that, you know, it's got more depth to it than you actually would see from here. And I think this turned out great. I think it's quite good because this had to stray off path with the actual blueprint as well, because when you're looking at it from a top-down game perspective, you can't see the walls, you can't see the sides, you can only see straight ahead. And this was something I had to do. I had to put it to the back, so we had to kind of move around the ideas of the mall, but we did keep this base ideas. It did fuel for a lot of ideas in future, and I'm quite happy with that. So now here I began working on the mall. Sorry, something in my throat. But as you can see, it started off pretty bare bones. It's a tile map. So we just got the sprites of the actual floor. We placed it down. We plot it around. We got the rough shape of it. Made sure it was all equal. Made sure it works properly. And then we slapped in the fountain because we thought, you know what, if we're gonna be making the mall, we might as well get a rough idea of how everything was gonna look around it. And as I said before in my research, the fountain in the mall is a centerpiece, and that provides a lot of ideas for how the mall is gonna look. I might go back to that in a second to show you what I was talking about. But from here on, I added the walls, and as you can see here, what I mentioned earlier with how you cannot have the walls be a top-down perspective and have a shop on the side. So as you can see here, I've turned the sides into a corridor, and I added more stuff to it later on. You'll be able to see that later on. But on the walls of the shop, on the walls of the mall, sorry, I added a shop. And this is the shop we saw earlier, the McDonald's. This is the shop we saw earlier from what I made. And I thought it doesn't look right being on its own, so you know what, I'll probably just reskin it, and I made a pharmacy which will be used later on in the future. Probably not by the time this FMP is over, but if I plan to develop this later on after the whole FMP in the summer or whatever comes afterwards, then I'll figure out a way to. I'll figure out something with this. If I can, which I'm pretty sure I'll be able to. I'll be able to. And yeah, as you can see, I added a bit more decoration. I added these little billboards. I added this sign, and I don't know if you remember me speaking about this earlier. Actually, no, I'll leave it later. I'll speak about it later on because I speak about it in a bit actually. But yeah, I'll say I was quite efficient with my time when it came to production, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I got quite a bit done because we made 2 whole scenes. We made the mall, of course, which you've just seen, and we made a bathroom. So this, I actually struggled with the bathroom more, even though it was my second time working with tile maps. But yeah, it was being quite finicky. It really was. So as you can see here, I got the tile maps done. Tile map done perfectly fine. Got the walls done. This was a bit odd. Now the walls were a bit odd, because they were coming down, but we just weren't able to put what's it called again? A collider on it, so you could just walk through. And I was confused on what was happening. And after that, we no from the beginning we had a sink in there. Now this sink was very tedious. This was a very tedious sink because we had to split it, we had to slice it, we had to play around with the pixel count a lot just to get it to connect with one another. And in the end, we finally got it done. It came out quite nice, if I do say so myself, not to toot my own horn once again. But I'd say I'm quite proud of how it turned out. And then we added the toilets. These are sprites that I worked on. Once again, I had to take into account a few things that I was saying earlier with the viewpoint of the player and how they were going to be able to see things. And here, doo-doo jokes, yeah, poo jokes, because this game, it's not a serious game. It really isn't. It's a comedic, somewhat comedic, joking game where it's not about being serious. It's about the funny world that it is. And I think that a cult that is summoning a poo monster of some sorts, I know it's playground humor or whatever you want to call it, but yeah, it just adds to the wacky and stupid world that is Overbound, which is the project we're working on. I don't think I ever clarified up until this point that the game, we finally settled on the name with it being Overbound. And yeah, you'll see why in a bit. But yeah, you see the toilets. As you can see here, the perspective I made, the rough shape of it, where I thought, okay, you know what, this is going to be easy. I got here, made it, and I thought, yeah, this is perfectly fine. I got to place it in the game. No. I realized something wrong. And I realized that this wouldn't work, because the way that you're looking at it from a top-down perspective of the player, you can't see the front. You can't see the front because it's going to be on the side of a wall. That's just not going to work. So I had to make this. I had to make this side view. But I also wanted to keep a front view, so I slapped the toilet in there, and I thought, you know what, there won't be anything wrong with it. But I think that this turned out quite well. You can clearly tell what it is. You can tell it's a toilet. I had a depth from the top like I did here. And yeah, here's just a picture of the mall. And then here's some miscellaneous assets I did. I did the sign. This sign actually had quite a bit of development, I feel like, because I jumped from this being very bare bones, no shading, bare colors, basic, pure bland, to this where you can see that it has a lot of shading. Look at the back here. You can see that I added a lot of shading here. I really didn't like this. I was like, there's something missing. And I have shading all around. You can tell. You can see where the light is hitting. You can see where the light isn't hitting. And I think that's quite good. For the men and women's toilets, I think that it's quite obvious to tell what they are. And I think I did a good job on it. And now here's what I was talking about with the final product of the bench, when I'm quite proud of how it turned out. Yeah, it definitely is something, because it took a while to figure out what I was going to do with the bench, because I really wanted to put a bench in the game, and I couldn't figure out what it was going to, how it was going to look. And I realized that from a isometric viewpoint, it didn't look right. Let me make sure that I'm using it right. It is isometric, right? One sec, because if it isn't, I'm gonna sound like an idiot. Sorry, non-isometric. If it's from a non-isometric, it looks weird. It doesn't look right at all. But from an isometric viewpoint, it looks perfectly fine and it looks normal. This devlog is going on for quite a long time, for quite a while now, so I'm gonna try to wrap it up. It's been 16 minutes from me just talking. But yeah, I made it in a isometric viewpoint, and I feel like it came out quite well. You can place it around other things, which I've done here. And yeah, it turned out pretty well. But yeah, this has been my devlog for production. As you can see, I've done quite a bit of work. This one went on for quite a while. I didn't mean for it to go on this long, but as long as it was able to display my work, I think it's worth it. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one, which will be post-production, but will probably be my final one. So yeah, thank you.